Welcome back to Shum's Universe. So this is going to be a much shorter video than usual, guys. I want to be very direct and to the point today, so this probably won't even go 8 minutes. The numbers, whether you're a birth or a life path or even expression number, so meaning your name, you should absolutely avoid all forms of vices, and you're going to notice that your money actually goes a lot up, skyrockets. Your luck perpetuates. Everything is going to start going on an upward spiral because of this one given thing. The numbers that you need to look out for when it comes to vices is the number 5, specifically the 14, especially the 14, I should say, but all 5s have to avoid it. Number 7 should avoid it, and 2s and 11s should absolutely avoid alcohol and any other vices, whether that be overly sexually indulging, smoking, any form of drugs, injections. You need to avoid this stuff altogether. It's going to hinder you and destroy you karmically. So here's why. To start off with the number 5, the number 5 is about the 5 senses, in case you guys didn't know. So if you're a life path 5 and you're out there like, what's the point to my life? You understand that you have an enhanced physical reality than other people, meaning you see better, you smell better, you taste more, you hear more things in tunely. So you guys' 5 senses is very much enhanced. In order to utilize your energy, you need to be clear-minded. You need to be cognizant. You can't be drinking and smoking, meaning cigarettes, weed, coke, whatever. None of that stuff needs to apply to you as a 5. 5s are very much fearless and energy driven, but your energy will actually be very better directed if you're not in any vices whatsoever. A very big karmic lesson with the 5 is to avoid the physical reality. And that doesn't mean like you avoid it by being a monk. What I mean is that you avoid it in a sense of you don't overly indulge in it, you detach from physical reality. So when you actually do that, that's when the 5, the Mercury energy actually perpetuates, and your speech will be more powerful. Everything you do will have that Midas touch. You'll make a lot more money. The 14 particularly was all about overly indulging in sex in a prior reincarnation. So if you actually avoid that in this reincarnation, meaning I'm not saying avoid sex, we have to have kids, we have to do these things. What I'm saying is like overly indulging in it, porn, things like that, you're gonna do a lot better in life. So a lot of these people, especially these guys like on the different communities, talk about like semen retention or no FAP, all this stuff for guys specifically. They're probably in a ballpark where they're seeing, the ones that are seeing the major improvements are the ones that are like 5, 7s, or 11s, like 2s. The ones that are not are just like whatever, like they'll still see improvements if you're like a 1 or an 8 or whatever, but like the massive improvements will be for 5, 7s, and 11s or 2s. So the next thing is like with 7s are too prone to depression and anxiety because your mind is already very it's sharp. You guys are meant to be geniuses, right? So if you're a birth number or a life path 7, you have an expression number, meaning your name number is 7, you want to avoid alcohol very specifically and escapism, because 7s try to escape reality by just doing drugs or things like that when their logical mind can't solve a problem. So the main thing you need to do is just look at, what am I doing that's contributing to escapism, and how do I handle this problem or this obstacle in my life very directly? So you need to put your mind in the right perspective to understand that life's going to come with problems. Sometimes you're going to be lonely, sometimes you're going to be depressed, sometimes you're going to be anxious, but these are your best friends on the way to success, is these negative emotions. That's what's going to come about, and that's what's going to bring you to that next level. So you actually have to take these things and absorb them like dark energy and then use them to your advantage. 7s, you can learn a lot from 8s from that. 8s always use like their negative stuff that happened to them, like a Michael Jordan, birth number 8. He absorbed all the negative comments, his dad's criticism, and then manifested a brilliant reality where he's pretty much the god of basketball. 7s can very much do the same thing if they take their negative emotions and put it into positive innovations, such as like an Elon Musk, who is a 7. The next one is 2s and 11s, very similar, because 2 is governed by the moon, 11 is also governed by the moon, but also 2 suns. So the thing is that when you, as a person with that vibration, you have the ability to then look past this whole idea of emotional ups and downs, meaning you start going neutral instead of worrying about how you feel each day and looking at it like a stock market chart. You start to realize that if you stay in a state of neutrality, you'll then attract more to yourself. And the only way you can do that is by avoiding things like alcohol, that's going to bring you a high and low, or smoking, that'll bring you a high and low, or sexual indulgences that can also bring you a high and low. So you want to make sure that you have everything in moderation. My recommendation to the 3 numbers that I brought up is not to do it at all, and you'll actually have a lot more success completely. When it looks like top level athletes, people that are like the best in their field, they don't really indulge in a lot of vices. If they do, it's just one specific one, and it's going to be done very moderately. Obviously, there's the eccentric exceptions to this, where it's like, yeah, they do drugs, but they're still good at everything they do. There's exceptions to everything in life, but that doesn't prove the rule, right? So the thing is that if you're a 7 or an 11 or a 2, you're meant to, for a 7, to go back to that for a sec, is you're meant to be a spiritual person. So you're not meant to really be attached to the material realm, very similar to the 5 that's very much in tune with the material realm, but they're meant to detach from it. Same thing goes for the 7. You're meant to be an internal person, not external. So when external forces can lead you to addiction, you lose all of your power with your life path, or if it's a birth or expression number, you don't even have that number. You might as well just say you're not a 7 then, because you're not going to have that energy at all. You're not going to have intuition. You're not going to have clairvoyance. You're not going to be able to manifest things through your spiritual energy, which you should be able to, or through your mind. You're not going to be able to do any of those things. So when you have vices, you just look at it like, hey, I'm going to stab myself on the way up the hill and let's see if I make it. Like, that's what you're doing when you have a vice. 11 and 2, very similar things, guys. The 11, you're meant to be a spiritual bridge, for goodness sake. Like, if you're doing drugs or alcohol, you're completely draining your own energy, and it's just going to lead you to overall disrespect from your peers and just failure in life because of the failures that you've had. You're just going to have more and more disrespect perpetually, so it's just a downward cycle for you. The number 2, you guys are already kind of bullied in life, if I'm being honest. Like, if you're born the 2nd, or if you're a life path 2, people like to already take advantage of you. You might not feel like you fit in quite as is. Don't substitute that with getting alcohol or drinking or smoking. That's just going to completely destroy you altogether. So any of these vices, replace them with disciplinary actions like waking up early, working out, writing, reading, meditation, anything that's going to actually objectively bring forth positive results in your life. But moreover than that, even if you can't replace it, once you cut these things out, you decimate these vices that are hindering you, you're going to notice that your life goes up more. Now, any number can take advantage of what I just said. Obviously, you want to be the most disciplined version of yourself possible. But those 3 numbers in particular are going to have like a lot of immediate results from it, because it's part of their life path or part of their lesson with that said number. So if it's in one of those 3 positions, I'll reiterate it: life path, expression, or birth number. Then if you have the 7, 9, or 2, or 11, then you want to make sure you're avoiding vices altogether, and the full energy of your numbers will transpire and you'll have a lot of success in life. If you don't do that, you're going to fail. A little bit of a, I guess it's a biased note for my 8s out there. If you're watching this, Saturn's a planet of limitations, guys. So let's be real with ourselves. We should be being as militant as possible by not drinking, not smoking, not overindulging in sexual indulgences like porn, all these things. Avoid them. And you're going to find that the 8, Saturn karmically has to give you what you want. So if you want a little secret glitch with the 8 today, is you want to make sure you're limiting your vices as much as possible so that Saturn doesn't have to limit you. Saturn already wants to restrict you by putting you in negative circumstances. If you put yourself in a negative circumstance where you're avoiding partying, you're avoiding getting too late, you're avoiding all this stuff, you're going to find that you get a lot of the stuff that you want a lot faster, because you're taking the actions towards it, you're speaking it into existence, and your thought process is militant enough to not bring your vibration down by indulging in vices that just drain your spirit. All right, so that does finalize the video for today, guys. If you have any questions for me, just please leave in the comment section. Aside from that, like, subscribe. Holla, me too for today, guys. Peace.